Hey guys, it's Rachel, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make Kopi Roti or coffee buns. They're basically these fluffy buns with a coffee cookie crumble on top. I recently tried this at a bakery in Los Angeles called Cafe Dulce, and they served up a really good roti. I don't have a picture of it here, but I really wanted to try it myself at home, and so this is how it went. The recipe starts off really simple. We're going to start with the buns. So this involves combining our bread flour, sugar, salt, milk powder, and yeast together in the bowl of a stand mixer. Then simply whisk those ingredients together, set it aside, and then we'll move on to some of the wet ingredients. So in a measuring cup, we're going to mix together the egg and water, but be cautious, don't do what I did, which was kind of spill the water out of the cup. Okay, so now we're gonna power on our stand mixer and gently stream in the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients using your dough hook attachment. Now we'll gradually go ahead and add in our room temperature butter, one little corner or one piece at a time until the dough has come together and slowly incorporated all of that butter. The dough should be shiny and elastic, but still very sticky, so resist the urge to add any additional flour, just keep it nice and tacky. We'll cover the dough with some plastic wrap and let it set and rise at room temperature for about an hour. While that's happening, I figured it would be a good time to start the coffee cream topping. So what we're going to do for that is first dissolve 1 tablespoon of instant coffee or espresso granules. In a large mixing bowl, we're going to beat the butter with the powdered sugar together until light and fluffy, and then gradually add in some eggs that we've already lightly beaten. And then we're going to mix those ingredients together until fluffy. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to avoid what I did, which was introduce too much of the egg at once because then it curdled. So definitely do this step more gradually. I mean, it'll still taste fine, it just won't be as smooth in texture. So then we're going to add in the cake flour, and then using the spatula, we're going to fold that in. The very last step is to go ahead and add in your prepared coffee mixture, mix until the whole thing is homogeneous, and then we're going to go ahead and refrigerate it until we need to use it. You can also leave it at room temperature, so I'm actually going to load it up into a piping bag first, and then we're going to let it sit until the buns are ready. Once the dough is done proofing or has doubled in size, this will take about like 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to go ahead and prepare a lightly floured surface and then kind of turn our dough out onto that and then divide it into about 19 pieces or so, which are about like 50 grams each. There's no exact science to this, kind of roughly whatever you think divides up the dough evenly and works for you will work for this recipe. Go ahead and divide up the dough and then roll it into little round balls so we can start making our buns. Now we're going to go ahead and place about 1 teaspoon of cold butter into the center of each piece of dough. Make sure you prepare the butter ahead of time, so make sure you cut it up or freeze it or put it in the fridge. Make sure it's cold, otherwise it's going to melt when you add it into the dough. So you're going to repeat this step for every single bun until each one has a little piece of butter tucked away inside of it, and then we're going to let the buns proof again for another 45 minutes to approximately an hour on a baking sheet, this time lined with parchment paper. But be careful and don't exactly do what I did, which was let them overproof for a little bit too long, because since they were in like a oven proofing for so long, the butter melted, which wasn't really ideal. And now we're going to go ahead and add the coffee topping from the piping bag once the buns have kind of puffed up a bit. So snip a small hole and then draw out a little spiral around the bun until you get a nice coating over the whole thing. And don't worry if you don't fill in all the gaps, because the cookie crumbles crust will kind of melt and become really smooth once it's in the oven. Then the last step is to bake these buns off at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 18 minutes, or until the topping has kind of just melted over the dough and has turned into a harder shell. And then go ahead and let the buns cool down to room temperature, or dig in right away like I tend to do, and enjoy these buns filled with butter and coated with a nice crispy topping. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to make these coffee buns, and if you try it out, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!